least. Some parts implemented, some parts not exactly implemented. I think the key thing is this. We need to decouple the police from being a whip in the hands of the executive. That needs to happen. We need to have a police that is focused not on regime security, but on fighting crime. And that is where that bit of community policing comes in very, very important.
If we're going to decouple the police from being a whip in the hands of the executive, from being a tool for regime security to being a tool for societal security, national security, the question of funding, you mentioned that part where, their funding comes directly from Abuja. How would that work?
Again, like I said, statutory. So it's one thing that we cannot avoid, no matter how hard we try, is this entire debate around restructuring. So all of that comes in through it. If the funding, as things are in Nigeria, essentially we have this thing where all the states go to Abuja at the end of the month to collect handouts, which is the brutal fact of what it is. The police is not much different from that. So if we begin to decouple this, and then it's community funded, it's community run, it's community operated, or it's a statutory thing where the lines of money flows don't go through somebody in the villa, doesn't have to sign because it goes to them by law, then we'll begin to see a difference. In my view.
We need to go on a break. Okay. We'll go on a quick break and I'll come back to continue the conversation. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. I was going to ask you, Nelson, now, is this bill capable of repairing the image of the police and mending the relationship between them and the public?
Yes. One major issue that citizens have with the police is the loss of confidence we've had over time. And even last night, there was a particular young man, because I run an organization called Citizen Gavel online, and we received complaints. And last night, there was a young man that kept on calling like 11 p.m. that his younger brother was just picked up right in front of the house. He was eating pizza, and there was a raid around all over Lagos last night. And they said these task force guys are out, and they just picked him up, just coming back from office. He tried to identify himself, but
they wouldn't even listen.
And he was taken to Marion Police Station around Abule Egba, and the family had to follow, keep on calling all the DPOs, the senior officers, and nothing was done until late in the night, like 12 midnight, when it was eventually, just few of them were released, and others were carted away. So many bad stories, extrajudicial killings and things like that. So, but we believe that this law is a step in the right direction. Okay. With the fact that it provides for so many new innovative approaches and respect of the fundamental rights. There is a particular section that provides for that the fundamental rights must be respected by police officers, and some other aspects too that provides that arrest, it must be humane, and some other provisions of the law. It also provides that in section 66 and section 67 that magistrates now have rights to visit police stations and perform oversight functions, like, visit their detention center, know the number of people in detention, and if they are not granted bail, he or she can grant them bail on site.
But if they say that bail is free, how come there's so many people in detention?
In the true sense of it, bail is not free. Bail is not free, because by the time nobody goes into the police station in Nigeria, you have to part with a sum of money. Now, it now depends on your bargaining power.
Yeah. Well, I was in Ikeja police station once, the one near the computer village, and there was something I overheard. Bail is free. No, bail is free, but now money we use to buy mosquito coil. that has stuck with me. Section 51 and I think 62 of this bill has legitimized police bonds and incorporated an accountability and transparency system. And I think that's very important. It's accountability and transparency in the whole process is something that will at least remove sections where people can actually impose arbitrary bills and all of that. So one section of the bill that I really like is a section that actually talks about warrants. Police warrants will likely go out the window. It has to be issued by a magistrate. That's very important. It's because that answers the question which regards the reputation of the police. One of the things that has really not helped the police is that reputation that they can just wake up in the night and then just go to any place where boys are hanging out and just carry everybody. Yeah. As time goes on and these things become more well-known, people will know that they need a written warrant from a judge in order to carry out arrests. And eventually, so some of these things is time. So if best practices are followed with the letter of the reform, if it's passed, of course, then you'll find that eventually you'll find that there will be a generation who will be born. It's kind of like the position we are now as a country. There are people who are now adults who don't have any memories of military rule. You have memories of military rule. He doesn't. So those things are... Sorry.
Okay. Does this bill cover the issue of training and welfare for the police? Because that's one major area. I was going to ask you about whether the bill takes into account the role of the citizens. I mean, if I'm going on the road at night and I don't have my identification card, what happens and all of that. So, but let's begin with that part, and we really don't have time after all.
Now, the bill provides for a reward fund, establishment of a reward fund. So, for exemplary police officers, they can draw for those officers. For police officers who died in the line of duty, their family members, their gratuities and other things can be paid from that reward fund and some other issues. Then he also provides for the establishment of police complaint response units and at every state level. Now, generally at present we have it at the federal level, but now it provides that it should be established at the state level. So everybody can be part of of reporting. So the accountability angle is there. However, what we are looking at is that beyond police regulating itself, which some of us are not too happy with, we also feel that there should be an external body, kind of regulating the police force. Because, of course, by the time you report a junior officer who is probably loyal to the senior officer, that he probably took bribe from you.
What is the Police Service Commission doing? Now,
the Police Service Commission, over the time, statutorily, they have the power to oversee the police force. However, over the time, we've seen that, you remember the NSAS movement. If the Police Service Commission was actually functional, the NSAS movement should have gone that far before issues they were agitated. I was part of the lead strategies of the NSAS with Mr. Shegma also and some other people. So we shouldn't have gone that far into the whole issue before issues would have been addressed. But recently we've not really seen the powers, the roles, the duties of the Police Service Commission. That's the funny thing.
Okay. We don't even get to hear about them at all.
We don't get to hear about it. Now, all over Lagos State, you have task force harassing people, and nobody. There's no way where you can complain. Even the commissioner. Okay.
The police.
There's a comment here from Festus Akimboyewa. Any reform that is not centered on making the police accountable politically to Nigerians will be a waste of time. The motive behind the current police reform bill is questionable.
Okay. Can I just quickly? The main purposes of the bill are increasing accountability and transparency to the people, protecting fundamental and human rights, better public perception, and better responsiveness. At least that's the purpose. So again, get involved in the public hearing so that everybody who can have their input. I think it's important.
And let's start, at least, let's pass this first. We can amend later, but let's have something that we can use to hold the police force accountable.
All right, thank you very much. We've been speaking to Cheta Nwanze, Head of Research, SBM Intelligence, and Nelson Olanik Bakunwa, legal practitioner. So I will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.